Hey everybody, it's Restore Thrive. We're back today talking about hip hinging and deadlifting and how you guys are probably about this close, maybe this close from being ready to qualify for Olympic weightlifting. So you may be asking why we're talking about deadlift or hip hinging, and it's mainly because it's one of what we call the fundamental archetypes of human movement. So just to define it really quick, what hip hinging is that ability to bend from your waist, moving around this axis of your hips, and being able to do that, keeping your back flat at the same time. What we see is a lot of back injuries occur when we're not able to maintain that spinal integrity, like we talked about with our bracing sequence piece, where keeping those abs engaged and keeping yourself in good position allows you to function optimally around your hips and around your shoulders. So we're going to put rubber to the road here and talk about the formal deadlift here that we would do in the gym, and then talk about how that applies to what you're doing in just day-to-day life as well. So let's say we're in the gym, we've got some weight on the floor that we want to pick up. The thing we want to start with first is that same bracing sequence, making sure that we're getting organized at the top before we start bending over to pick something up. We'll talk about why that's important in a second here. So feet point straight ahead. If we're a little tight through our hamstrings and have a hard time bending forward and keeping our back flat, we can get wider with our setup with our feet, and that's going to give us a little more breathing room as we bend forward. We want to be somewhere around hip width to shoulder width apart with our feet. We're going to squeeze our butt to level out our pelvis. Take that breath in, get that rib cage down, and then set the shoulders in good position to reach. Now we like to get you to bring your arms out in front and pull your shoulders back a little bit so that when you get down to the bar, you don't lose that position rounding your back and then trying to find that neutral spine again. So abs set, glutes tight, shoulders set in good position. We're going to hinge forward from the hips, grab the bar. Once I get in contact with the bar, I want to bend the bar, and you can see when I do that how that rolls my shoulders back. That takes up the slack between my body and the bar. I'm going to load my hamstrings by driving my hips back, then push through the ground and stand up. Okay? So a couple problems that we see here when people do this that lead to low back and neck injuries. First is not getting organized at the top. So if we're sloppy here and bend over, get our grip, and then pull ourselves into what feels like a flat back position, we're actually overextended because we've used our hip flexors instead of our spine stabilizers to get our spine stable. So if I stand up after pulling myself from here to here, I'm actually overextended and hanging on my spine. Okay? The second thing we see is when we bend forward, if we have that spine stable, but we don't take up the slack by pulling the shoulders back, we have to create torque somewhere, and we start to create it through your spine instead of using your shoulders and getting set through your shoulders to take up that slack and lift from there. This is how it applies to day-to-day function. So let's say we're picking up our backpack, we're picking up a bag of sand, something that doesn't have a handle to it. So we want to use the same mechanics, bend around the hips, reach forward with your arms, don't round, bend your knees forward a little bit now if you have to pick up something lower, get your grip, take up that slack, bring your shoulders into it, push your hips back so you can load that backside, the hamstrings and the hips, and then you're going to lift from there, and that weight is just going to sit right in front of you here, okay? So here's what we want you guys to practice at home. We want you to practice maintaining that spinal neutral, moving around the hips, making sure you keep yourself organized. What you would really be well served by is videoing yourself or having a friend watch you do this. And if you're not doing this correctly, what we want you to do is take a little bit of time, get in front of the mirror, try to get organized. This stuff matters in terms of spine health and your ability to lift things well. So thanks for tuning in today. We'll talk to you guys soon.